party atmosphere here in the Stade de France tonight. A tough night for the Irish, but a great night for the French. Benjamin, how much did you enjoy that?
5 points victory against Ireland, opening Six Nations game is absolutely not normal. It's something. It's a special performance, absolutely. Now, if you dig deep into the actual performance, I think there's going to be a lot to say. I think France, especially in second half, just took their foot off the gas, and you could see it. Ireland really came back with a rebellious mindset, and the bench did a lot of good. I was hoping actually to see maybe the quality of rugby to be just slightly higher than that. The conditions obviously played a role in it, but overall 5 points victory against a fighting second half from the bench of Ireland is a very satisfactory night for France.
5-try victory. It was quite a scoreline, Benjamin. Given the conditions, we mentioned those, what impressed you most about this performance from France?
I'm actually very impressed by the ability of the Louis Bielbiarré, the Thomas Ramos, just to deal with the high balls, the Michael Guillard on all those kickoffs. Clearly Ireland decided to say, we don't want to see Louis Bielbiarré running around the corner, we want to see chasing some high balls in very complicated conditions, and I thought we did that really well. The exit strategy was actually pretty spot on, using the right foot or the left foot of Antoine Dupont, so I was really pleased with that. I was pleased with the composure, the patience of the first half. I was just disappointed we couldn't keep on those standards between the 55th and probably the 70th.
Brian, we'll have plenty of time to talk about Ireland and where they are after that, but we have to acknowledge what a performance that was from France in very testing conditions.
Super impressive, particularly the first half. Obviously, I agree they took the foot off the gas a little bit in the second half when Bielbiarré got his second try, but coupled with Ireland really stepping up a bit of intensity as well, so it was a little of both. But it's definitely a performance from France that we were all expecting, we were all anticipating. We know that they're a coming team, that they're generating something brilliant and having their lieutenant at 9 back, but then having the capacity of bringing the likes of Serran to come on and bring his energy the way he did. I just think it's going to take a very good team to beat this French side.
I've just been watching Dupont lift that new trophy, the Solidarity Trophy, which has been created for this match, and we'll reflect on how many more trophies they might be picking up at the end of this Six Nations in a moment. But first, let's get some reaction from Ireland now, because Caelan Doris is with Gabriel Clark.
Hey Caelan, a tough night. What's your verdict on the performance?
I think we left ourselves too tall a mountain to climb in the first half. We were pretty passive defensively. I believe it was 19 missed tackles, but a number of soak tackles as well, which allowed them to flourish with their keeping the ball alive and attacking game. I think that first 30 minutes we couldn't find our feet, allowed them to get phases and score off the back. I think the bench made a good impact when they came on, got us back into the game a little bit, got our energy going a little bit more. So there's a little bit of grit and determination shown in the second half, but very disappointing way to start the campaign.
Were France almost taking you by surprise then with some of that speed and physicality in the first 50 minutes or so?
I mean, we've faced it before. We faced it in the Aviva last year. There's a 15-minute period where we saw some of that stuff, so we were well prepped for it. It was the collisions that let us down, our connections and kick chase, and the collisions off the back of that.
Is that the regret? Because you then had that spell, the 2 tries, and it looked like you might really have shifted the momentum.
Definitely, like I mentioned, the impact of the bench was class. It got us back into the game. We felt dominant for a period in that second half, but it was too tall a mountain to climb in the end.
They say you learn a lot in defeat. This is a heavy defeat, so what do you need to take now, quickly, for next week? What do you have to take from this?
Defence. It all starts with defence. If you want to win a championship, you need strong defence, and we didn't have that today. Quite a few lessons to learn. We're going to need to be a lot better at home next week.
Thank you, Caelan.
Thank you.
Interesting, Rory, to hear him say there we were too passive defensively. That is not in the DNA of Ireland normally. What do you make of that?
No, it's not. And look, they're obviously very, very disappointed with their defence. Probably for me, it was actually their attack in the first half. The second half, we saw them try to go after France. I think this Irish team, and probably a lot of Irish teams, they're not physically big enough. They never really have been to try to dominate teams physically. We need to play fast. We need to try things. We need to be ambitious with the way we play. I felt in the first 30 minutes we weren't that. Now, yes, we look at the missed tackles and the soak tackles, but when you're playing big men that France have, you're going to get some of those. When you're playing players with the footwork, you're going to get missed tackles. For me, it was just that little bit of the killer instinct to go after them a bit more in the first half. We felt at the start of the game that if France were able to get into this and get momentum and get the crowd on side, it's going to be a a very, very tricky task. And unfortunately, Ireland through, yes, defence, but also maybe there was a lot of set-up plays to kick, which was obviously a tactic, especially given the weather. But France showed that regardless of weather, you can still play. They were exceptional that first half.
If you go to the air, you have to win the air. Like, there were so many set-up plays, 1, 2, 3 phases, and then Gibson Park going to the box kick. And in fairness, the back three for France in those early 20-25 minutes were catching the ball clean. They were very competent. They didn't worry about it at all. They backed themselves, and that guy was very, very impressive today. Again, it's not conventionally his sort of conditions, but he was outstanding.
He was outstanding. Fantastic. Nice to see him as well. Listen, let's get some more reaction now. Let's hear now from Sean Edwards, the French coach. He's with Gabriel.
Opening night, bonus point win. You must be very happy.
Yeah, very happy. I thought our attack in the first half was fantastic. We dominated possession, we dominated territory, which is very, very unusual against Ireland, because Ireland are a team who normally do that to the opponent.
Caelan Doris said Ireland were passive. Did you almost catch them by surprise a bit with that speed, with that power?
No, I just think, you know, when we're on attack, mate, it's a joy to watch, isn't it? You know, at times, and you want to watch it in training. It's incredible.
Well, you did talk. You said that the key word before the match was speed, and you had that in essence.
Well, we tried to get the rucks were quick, and particularly in the first half, and I thought Ireland did very well to come back in the second half. They showed that they're a great team, and but it was nice to get the winning the try right at the end, because I think the supporters deserved it.
Player of the Six Nations last year, 2025, Louis Bielbiarri, is he getting better?
Yes, he is, yeah. And you know why? Because he wants to get better. His attitude's fantastic. He's got all the talent in the world, and you know, he is a world-class superstar.
Was this a good night as well for Mathieu Jalabert? His first start in this stadium since the World Cup.
Yeah, it was marvellous. I thought he played really well in the World Cup for us. He defended really well in the World Cup at times. And you know, Matthew's he's a player that you're going to pay money to watch. He's such an exciting player.
You always, of course, have things to work on. So what is the Sean Edwards work on for next week?
Well, obviously we're playing Wales away, so we know Wales are a very well organised team. I know the coaches very well, and they're very well organised. So we have to make sure we can handle that.
Thank you, Sean. Great start.
Cheers.
Andy, commiserations. What's your verdict?
I mean, there's a lot going through our minds at this moment in time, Gabriel, but yeah, obviously very disappointed through something that I never thought we'd be saying about this Irish team, you know, with a little bit of lack of intent in that first half, and you know, missed tackles or winning the scraps on the floor or winning the fight in the air. It's just intention, you know, and if that's lacking, you're not going to win any international game. Never mind one in Paris.
Yeah, you expected better. It wasn't that France were outstanding.
Well, I mean, yeah, I thought they were at times in regards to the athletes that they've got and the power that they had, and you know, the offloading ability in those type of conditions is pretty difficult, and it looked like they were playing a different game at one stage there, but showing a bit of fight and a bit of character is what was needed, and yeah, it's easier to do that, isn't it, when you regroup at half-time and you know you're already points down, etc. But fair play to the subs, especially who came on and got a bit of a go forward for us.
Is that the frustration, the regret then, that you didn't start quickly? You started at the hour mark.
Well, reacting when it's a little bit too late isn't the way that we want to do things, obviously. But look, I mean, you know, they play well and they're off to a great start, and why not? But we've all been involved in this competition and seen this competition throw up a lot of different things along the way. But so this result, and it's not a good one for us, but it has to stand for something.
And it gives you a bit to think about and work on this week, doesn't it? And some selection decisions and some things to say to the team.
Well, we'll be honest. We are an honest group, and we'll make sure that we use this in the right manner. It's a must.
Thank you, Andy.
Cheers, Gabriel. Thanks.
Yeah, pretty frank there from Andy Farrell. lacking intention, I think I heard him say, and he questioned the fight and the character, which is an unusual thing to hear a head coach say about a team.
Very unusual, and for him to say it publicly as well. It's one thing saying it to your own team, but saying it out loud makes it very real. And yeah, listen, the game of rugby is actually very simple. It's about collision winning, and it's about battling all the micro moments, all of those scraps, and in the air, and the contest, be it whether you have the ball or not. And when you go forward, your game plan follows suit. Today, France were collision winners. They just dominated, and that's why they got so many offloads. I think it was 8-2 offloads at half time, because they were winning collisions, because they were getting arms free, and it just felt as though it snowballed away from Ireland. They got it back in the second half, as we said, a factor of France taking the foot off the gas and then getting a little bit of that momentum. But I think what concerns me is that now there's a vulnerability to this team, and other sides will be looking at us and think, do you know what, this is nothing like the Irish team that was at the World Cup in Paris 2 years ago. This is a team very much in transition, and there are scalps to be had. So Italy will come to town next week, and there'll be other sides as well that will go, do you know what, we can actually beat this Irish team, where I don't know if that truly has been realistic in some cases in previous years.
Rory, Andy Farrell's had some great success with this Irish team, but he looked so disappointed tonight. He just looked gutted. And what did you make of some of those comments there?
I think he will be. He will be absolutely gutted, because he expects a certain level of performance, and probably when he looks at it and all the stuff Dricko says 100% right, he'll also look at first half, every breaking ball went to France. The second half, we got some breaking ball, and you might be at home going, oh, well, that's just the luck of where you are. But that's, to me, what he means by intent, to get there, to make that 50-50, not a 50-50, a 60-40 or a 70-30 in your favour. And that's intention. That's me and Benjamin going for that ball, and me going, I'm getting it no matter what way it bounces. And look, we all know what Andy's like. That is something that he just expects from every single player, and he obviously feels he didn't get enough of it.
Yeah, France playing a different game to Ireland. We could see how disappointed Farrell was. I suspect Fabien Galtier's a lot happier, but he'll still be pushing for improvement, won't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And to justify the difference, I think at the 60th minute there was a stat that came up: 15 offloads for France, 3 for Ireland. So it's the intent to go into contact, but then releasing the hands, and McCluskey releasing for Timony is probably a good example. But on the French side, yes, there was 40 minutes of really quality rugby, seizing opportunities, stepping on the gas, really seeing a lot of creativity, a lot of movement, a lot of, every time we could find Louis Bielbiarré, let's try to put him. But I really want to highlight one performance. I think it was the best performance with the 13 jersey of Deporter. He got into this French team 2 years ago in mid-Six Nations to replace Gaël Fick, who did well, but since then has been battling with a few injuries. He's Champions Cup champion with Bordeaux, lifted the trophy with his club. Definitely an outstanding 13 that not only has gas, he's got the height, but also he's got the defensive ability. And Sean Edwards always mentioned Gaël Fick as his captain of defense. He was the one leading the strategy of the backs and the connections with the forwards, and really leading the pace and the intent of defense. And I think Deporter took on both those jerseys today, the attack and the defense, and I thought he did really well.
Yeah, we see the quality in that top 14. The depth within the French system is incredible. We can't talk about a French team winning and playing well without talking about Antoine Dupont, because he's normally the first thing we talk about. It was great to see him back, and he did play a big role tonight. But he wasn't grabbing the headlines like we've seen in the past.
No, but it was a different sort of game. It was a really controlled game. I thought his kicking was outstanding. He relieved pressure. He didn't get caught in contact very often. He's still... sometimes there's a nervousness still when you come up to that next level, when you've had a long period out and it's a significant injuries had, to come back in, and it's a good way to ease your way into it with, a 7 out of 10 performance. Okay, we're used to the lofty 9 out of 10s very regularly, but it's okay even for arguably one of the best players of all time to have, a 7 out of 10 performance. But I just liked his control with Jalibert. I think he communicated very well. He kept his pack going forward when needed be, and he did the simple things, the basics extremely well. Throughout the course of the tournament, we will see other parts of Antoine Dupont's game. I have absolutely no doubt.
We were talking about who owns that 10 jersey for Ireland. Certainly Jalibert looked superb in that 10 jersey for France. They were favourites to win tonight. Let's make no mistake there. They did come in as favourites, France. Did you predict the margin of victory?
I think we we thought if it was going to be a tight game, Ireland had a chance. But when they let France get away and then they got those 2 early scores, even at half-time, we showed that half chance that Bielbarri had early on. You know, just that, the way they were playing with the pace, it's probably something that Ireland will look at. You know, you asked earlier about the depth, and the 3 players missing for France, not even in the extended squad, would step into probably any other Six Nations squad. So they have that depth, but they have that real out-and-out pace. The guys talked about it in commentary, that when you give a team front football, Dricko said about the collision winning, and then you have that out-and-out pace in that back line, it is very, very hard to handle. France got that early, and you did fear a little bit, especially at half-time, that you sort of go, well, where are Ireland going to find a foothold in this game, and where are France going to ease back somewhere? And look, both happened, thankfully, from an Irish point of view.
I suspect there'll not be whole-scale changes for France next week. Damien Penaud will be sitting with his head in his hands, I suspect. But from an Irish perspective, Sam Prendergast, we talked about whether he would have the continuity that he probably desires. Do you see big changes ahead of Italy next week?
I don't know if there's the personnel there, anyone, you know, outside of the 23. I think you might see some changes from bench into the starting lineup, you know, reward the quality that came off in Conan and maybe Timoney. I thought McCarthy had a quiet first half, so maybe Ryan will start. But outside of that, I don't know, I think they have to probably be given a second opportunity to see whether they can really up their performance and put to bed a lackluster, substandard performance that they're not used to. So I think, yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because this is uncharted territory for Andy Farrell.